Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me, Megan Hoffmeyer.
Sarah Newworth, DJ Valentine, Billy Business, and Brendan Peters. This is Andy Boetes. This is Nathan Leahy. David Cross. It's Jake Lewitt. Norbert Morvan. It's Lisa Leahy. Joey Lewandowski. John Levingood. Professor Mike Dillon. Nick Riak. Niall Moore. Adam Youngblood Hunt. Eric Hoffmeyer. It's Johnny Nunn. Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who will never mess with Michael Keaton's Batman. It's Billy Business.
Oh no, I wouldn't be caught dead, especially with this Batman Returns Batman. He'll stick some dynamite down your pants and you're done.
And he'll smile. And one of my friends, Adam Clement, who used to come on this show and do a lot of Batman episodes with me, he has a phrase like, if you mess with Keaton, you take a beating. And I had never heard that before, and he just said that casually, and it's true. Like, this guy murders folks for fun, and he just sits around his house waiting for the bat signal. He doesn't. That's all he wants, and so I love it. And watching this again, this is in my top 3 ever superhero films, alongside probably Unbreakable, Batman Returns, and either Spider-Man 2 or Blade. Top 4. I'll do that. Top 4.
Yeah, dude, top 4 is fine.
Yeah.
This one is it's interesting. First of all, anyone that knows me from coming on here, those first 4 Batman movies are just like, they are in my DNA. If I go get my blood drawn, you're going to see these 4 movies in there. This one I love so much, but
bat DNA? Is that like a little bat signal DNA?
A little bat DNA. They're like, oh, Keaton beaten. I see it right there.
Some Clooney.
Yeah, mess with Clooney, things get a little loony.
Mess with Kilmer, you'll be killed. No, Kilmer kills. Whoa.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But Batman Returns is more like, plot wise, I think this makes the least sense out of all 4 of the movies. Like, it just structurally makes almost no sense. But in terms of mood and looking at this is really dark for a kid's summer movie, but looking at the like abuse, the idea of abuse through different lenses, like there's neglect with the Penguin, there's physical domestic abuse with Catwoman, there's self-abuse with Bruce, and like you said, with Batman, where he uses it to not feel anything anymore, and then there's abuse of power with Max Schreck. Like, this movie is about abuse, which is very strange to have for your rah summer blockbuster, but it's interesting.
I mean, listen, 9-year-old Mark, 10-year-old Mark, when Penguin's eating that fish and bites that guy's nose,
sure,
that got me, because I was not suspecting that at all. And I was aware of Burton at the time, but I just never saw that coming. And then the scenes with like Pfeiffer being pushed out a window and the bird, it's and him dead at the end, and the penguin's pushing him in the water. Like, I had the toys from this movie, the penguin toys. Like, I was all about this movie, but it's a dark little thing. But I also think Keaton, when it comes to Batman Returns and Nightmare Before Christmas, which he didn't direct, Selleck directed it. But those kind of violent, gnarly movies, they really kind of had an impact on young Mark. Like, I don't know, they kind of challenge you, but they look gorgeous, and like, I don't know, I love those films.
This movie has a lot in common with Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and in the sense that and I don't know why I give this one a pass and not Temple of Doom, but they both come from kind of a mean-spirited place, and they both are coming from a place where their respective directors are going through a divorce. And it is very clear that, and I clearly don't know Tim Burton, but I would love to know, there's that scene at the end where he rips off his cowl and she's like, I would love to live with you in your little fairy tale, but it would be a lie, so I can't. And I would love to know if Tim saw himself as Bruce or saw himself as Selina, but it feels very personal in that sense.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, he's gone all the time. He's in another world. When he's probably at home, he's thinking about making a movie. So when Bruce is at home, he's thinking about being Batman. Yikes.
Right. And that's why I said too, like, there's things in this movie that plot wise don't make sense, but emotionally that makes sense. I think one of the like a criticism I always see is like Bruce sees Cobblepot on TV and he's like, his parents, I really hope he finds them. And the next scene, literally 2 minutes or less later, as Batman, he's like, I think he knows who his parents is. I don't like this guy. And people are like, wait a minute, what happened? I was like, to me, I see it as Bruce feels something, and I think he doesn't like that. And being Batman gives him permission to cut off any humanity that he has, which is why he has to rip off his cowl in order to look Selina in the face and be like, I'm done wearing this shield around me. Can we just go home? And she says, no, you can, I can't. And I think like, again, as a plot, that it doesn't make any sense, but as a mood piece, it makes a lot of sense.
This is one of the best mood pieces I think I've ever.
Yes.
And like Pfeiffer's incredible, DeVito's the special effects. I'm gonna use the word incredible a lot. I don't care. The set design, incredible. I mean, it's just a gorgeous looking film. And yeah, I mean, I guess you're saying it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's still about. We're going to talk about the whole point of this episode is we've covered Batman Forever, we've covered Batman and Robin, we've talked about the soundtracks. Now we're making up a soundtrack for Batman Returns, not a score soundtrack, but like music inspired by Batman Returns. But the way I look at this movie, it's like three people who are just lost, and I love the Catwoman, Penguin, Batman, how all three of them are like just dealing with it. And but I think you introduce all these new characters, and I still think Burton handles it really well because they all read. Like, how many superhero films have we watched with way too many characters who don't get anything or don't leave an impression? So even though it doesn't make much sense, you're right though, as far as the mood, the look, the sets, and just the iconic nature of all three of these characters, it works for me. And I think overall it's a mood piece, and that's probably why I like it the most. And Unbreakable too, that's all mood. So I think those are two of the movies that I adore the most because of just the art of them, I would say.
Right. No, 100%. And I'm one of the people that actually prefers this kind of skewed origin of Penguin, because I agree with Tim Burton that Penguin on its face is kind of dumb, just like a little gangster. Like, God bless Colin Farrell. Even then, I'm just like, okay, like it doesn't really do anything for me. But this, it's like you take Bruce Wayne's origin and you mutilate it the other way. It's like his parents weren't ripped from him like Bruce. He was ripped away from his parents because they didn't want him. Like the complete opposite, I think, is great. I actually wish the film would have played up a little bit more that Batman or Bruce finds solace in becoming a freak and is trying to lose himself in becoming this creature, whereas Penguin is trying to become more human. I love those kind of parallel paths that they're on, and Catwoman kind of splitting the difference. Yeah, there's a lot of really juicy stuff, but at the end of the day, if you ask yourself, what did Catwoman want in this movie? I don't really know. What did Penguin want? I'm not 100% sure. Like, what did Bruce want? Nothing, literally nothing. So yeah. So I think as like I don't think I would teach this in a screenwriting class, but every other aspect of filmmaking, absolutely.
You know what's funny? I have never thought about the plot of this movie, even though I've watched it more than any other Batman film. It's one of my favorite superhero films ever made. But I guess I'm just so taken by the mood of it that I've never, they talk about in advertising how there's like a 1 and a 2. With advertising, they want audiences to stay in a 1, where you're just like, yeah, this ad is great. They don't want to have you go to 2 and be like, hey, wait, why are they showing me this? What does this mean? What does that do? Why are they doing that? Like, I think Batman just keeps me in 1, where I am just watching it and like being soaked in the world. I've never asked questions about the who, where, what, when, why of any of it, because I think I just love it. And that's one of the few films where the more you watch, the more you start to question it. But I've never done that with this. So I love that I love your take on it, because it's something I've never thought about, because I think I'm just constantly staying in that one zone where I let the experience hit me, and I love it.
I mean, but that's what art is, right? This is all supposed to just manipulate you into feeling something. So getting bogged down in plot, well, I'm not saying all movies should be reckless with their plots, but this one kind of does feel like it does feel like 3 or 4 scripts combined into one. The Penguin, his whole thing seems to be like, I'm gonna punish all the firstborn sons of Gotham for what happened to me. But then that fails pretty fast, and then he's like, well, never mind, third act, let's just blow everything up with like Joel Schumacher level penguins.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It is great.
This movie rules.
Those penguin toys, like you mentioned,
I had those.
They're amazing.
Oh man. Okay, so do you want to tell the audience what we're going to be doing today?
Yeah,
I explained it, but I think you can explain it better.
So, just to give a little bit of backstory for those who maybe don't know, Tim Burton did not want to come back for Batman Returns. He basically only got to direct 50% of the first movie. There were so many mandates. John Peters took a lot of things into his own hands, including the entire third act of the first Batman movie. Like, they commissioned sets without even talking to Burton. So I think he was just done. He'd shot his wad on Batman and was done. Then they said, hey, you can make your Batman movie however you want. No notes from us. We'll do whatever you want. One of the things that bothered him was the mandate that he had to include Prince in that big, like it had to be a big part of the tie-in of the movie, which is why I feel like he ran the complete opposite way for Batman Returns, whereas it is the only one of those 4 first Batman movies that does not have like a music inspired by album. There was only a score. There was one song that was written by Susie and the Banshees in conjunction with Danny Elfman so that it blends seamlessly into the score. But he was just like, I ain't doing an album. So we've decided, like, well, what if they were like, you can have all the creative control you want, but we still have to have an album? And what if Tim Burton said, all right, fine. So this is what we think in 1992 this album would have been. Now, some of these songs are maybe a little bit earlier than 92 or a year later or so.
90 to 93, right?
Yeah. So in our reality, these can still fit, and they were either saved or recorded earlier for this movie.
I ain't doing a soundtrack. I want to hear Tim Burton.
I mean, that's got to be so frustrating though to like, so I don't know if you knew that story, but it was like they didn't really know how that first Batman was going to end. And so Jack Nicholson and John Peters, the infamous John Peters, go in London to go see Phantom of the Opera. And they're so smitten by this whole cathedral thing that they're like leaving the theater. They're like, let's do that for our movie. So John Peters just hires people to build a cathedral set. And then they just tell Tim, like, hey, this is how the movie's going to end. Like, I would be so frustrated as a director.
Yeah.
So to come back and be like, fine, I'll do it, but you're not going to pull any shenanigans this time,
I ain't doing it. I just want to hear Tim Burton use the word ain't.
I'm pretty sure he said those exact words.
I want that on the MFF sticker. That's going to be an MFF sticker.
Just crazy Tim Burton saying with his arms crossed, I ain't doing it.
Yeah. I need to do MFF stickers. I need to get someone to design these because that one's really funny. All right, can I do the first pick?
Please.
Do you want to go through your 8 and then I'll go through my 8, or do you want to do every other? Or what do you want to do?
I maybe we just volley back and forth because I feel like mine. Here's the thing, and we actually didn't talk about this too much in length. I'm not really changing anything in the movie, but I am like adding songs to it. So I'm not creating any new scenes with my picks. I'm not trying to, Alfred, turn on the radio and then this song is playing. It's more like if I were to take the movie, put it in Premiere and maybe switch them out myself for a couple of them. Not every song on these soundtracks ends up in the movie,
Got it. Like, I'm thinking some are just for the album. Some might even just be playing in the background. Remember in Batman Forever, Offspring, and like there's a speaker somewhere playing a song for 12 seconds. Like that's what I'm thinking.
I've denoted in some of mine, like not in the film or where in the film, but maybe we just go back and forth.
Okay. Yeah. And we won't go too long. We'll just kind of talk about each one. This isn't like a big time draft. I did do a lot of research for for every single song. I just wanted to we did wait. This turned into way too much work. I just want everyone to know, because Billy made a great point where I had some bangers to begin with, but then he was like, hey, sometimes Batman Forever and Batman Robin, they just have these weird songs that are like B-sides of a B-side put on there. They don't even have much to do with the movie. So I kind of had to drop like my big hitters and look for lesser popular songs on albums to make, and from Warner Brothers, Warner Brothers Records pops a couple of their songs on here just for promotion. So I had to like strategize. I couldn't just pick awesome songs. So once we had that talk, I kind of went back to basics and found other songs that I think could be included. Now my first one is not. So my first one is Enjoy the Silence by Depeche Mode, 1990. Mm-hmm. But what I love about it is, Keaton cut a lot of his lines for this film. And, this film's like words like violence, break the silence, come crashing in. All I ever wanted, all I ever need is here in my arms. Words are very unnecessary. They can only do harm. If you think about that, if you think about Bruce and Catwoman, he's what she wants. Like he loves, like when they meet, they connect. But I mean, words are very unnecessary. They can only do harm. When they learn about who they are, they can't have that. So I know this song isn't exactly tied in, but when I listen to it and just thinking about how much Keaton cut his dialogue and thinking about how words are very unnecessary, they can only do harm. That's kind of what it does to their relationship. And so, I don't know, like vows are spoken to be broken, feelings are intense, words are trivial. I don't know. I just think it's it really ties these two characters together. So I would love to have Enjoy the Silence by Depeche Mode, because it's like one of my all-time favorite songs. And also,
I think it's a great song.
Tim Burton's favorite band, he has said that his favorite band is the Killers, and the Killers love Depeche Mode. So I kind of thought if he had any part of this is like pre-Killers, obviously, but maybe he was in a Depeche Mode mood because he likes the Killers. I feel like if you like Depeche Mode, you're going to like the Killers, or you think they're ripping off, like it's like Radiohead, Muse and all that. But I think he would vibe with this song. So that's why I want this one.
I think it's great. And I also think this would be, to me, this is kind of like your Jewel Foolish Games, where you're like, maybe at first you're like, why is this on here? But it's also like that sleeper hit from the album,
Yeah.
Which I just think that's really cool. I love the analysis on it. Cause yeah, what's so funny is like I said all that, and then when I look at my picks, I'm like, oh, I didn't really follow that as much as I probably should have. This whole mantra of I have one or two, but we'll get there. But yeah, I really like that as a pick. I think that's good. When I was listening to it, I was trying to picture, I was like, can I see the album cover in my head with this song playing? And it took me a minute to get into it. I'm like, but yeah, I think so. I also didn't know this was 90s. I, for some reason, always thought this song was like 87.
Yeah, me too. That's why I asked you if we could do 90. I was like, can I do 90? Because of this song. But I thought maybe when they learn who they are, or when they first meet.
Yeah.
Like just when they're having moments when they're kind of lying to each other. And I think that this could be kind of playing in the background, like all I ever wanted is here in my arms when they're together.
So it's you're putting this in the film.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Because like all I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. Like you could see Keaton just looking at Pfeiffer and just being like, this is it.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, just the chemistry of those two.
Oh, they're incredible.
I know that Annette Bening was originally cast and had to drop out because she was pregnant. And so Michelle Pfeiffer was kind of a scramble cast. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't know how this would have worked without her.
Nothing could top. This is one of the greatest performances. Like just the way how she should have been Oscar nominated, how unhinged, how physical, what she did with the whip. Like this is for me, this is a top 5 comic book movie performance.
I would agree with that. I actually would agree with that. I have a quick question for you though, because I found out recently that everyone sees this differently, which I thought was bonkers. But when she falls and the cats come and lick her and turn her into Catwoman, do you feel that this is supernatural and that she kind of has the 9 lives that's a supernatural thing? Or do you think it's kind of like, no, it's not actually literal?
I took it as supernatural.
I did too. And I heard like other people be like, no, I never read it as that. I was like, I don't know how you could read it as anything other
Yeah,
than that.
the
Like
cats lick her and
that,
bite her, and she gets shot, and
yeah.
like there's something supernatural going on here.
I always read it that way, so I was very shocked to hear that people thought that I like they were shocked that I said it was, but
I never
besides the
once
point.
thought that this wasn't supernatural.
I don't think this movie doesn't make a ton of sense, but I think it makes even less sense if it's not supernatural. I don't think you just bonk your head after a 10-story fall and then all of a sudden be like, I need to change my personality. This isn't working for me, all right, so let me get to my first pick. This is not in the film. This would just be on the album. It's just a cool mood piece. It's Digging in the Dirt by Peter Gabriel. I feel like this song could be from the point of view of either Catwoman or Batman, which I think is cool because you can read it both ways. But I just like it because it's plotting, it's brooding, and it's full of self-loathing, which maybe actually now that I think about it probably goes a little skewed more towards Catwoman, but it is just like you're sticky, you're digging in the dirt, like
Yeah.
I feel like mood wise it fits. I don't think it fits within the body of the film anywhere, but I think like just as like this piece of brooding music it works.
And you know what's funny? This is something that could have maybe worked on Batman Forever or Batman and Robin. And, like, you have another pick too. Weird. Well, there's a weirdo song, but those two I feel like could have just been on those soundtracks. They're so
Oh
random,
yeah.
kind of like those could be on the soundtrack. So when I listened to it, we put together a Spotify playlist and I listened to it on my way to work and working outside, and that's how nerdy we got with this one. Not nerdy, that's how awesome we got
Yeah.
with this one. But
Exactly.
yeah, that's a good song, and I was having a good time. I had never heard that before, so I really enjoyed listening to it.
I also think like this was like Peter Gabriel was like hot back then. And one of the things that was in my mind the whole time we were doing this was like thinking of that Batman Forever soundtrack commercial, only one soundtrack is forever, and how they were just listing off like, maybe it was Batman and Robin, one of the two commercials, but they were like Goo Goo Dolls, REM, blah, blah, blah. And so it's just
Mhm.
like, okay, who were like some names that were hot at the time that could contribute a song that's not one of their biggest known hits, but would probably entice you to be like, oh, well, they're on it. And I feel like 1992, Peter Gabriel, that tracks.
And also, like, this time you've gone too far, I think.
Which again, like to me, that evokes Catwoman. One of my favorite lines in the movie, and it's so throwaway. She's staring at the holiday display in the window, and she just says, "Why are you doing this?" And it's
Oh,
and
yeah,
that, I feel like this song is kind of a little bit of that inner turmoil.
it's good. And this was Warner Brothers as well, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
When I was going through Warner Brother research, I found that. Okay, my next pick, I'm gonna go with Shit List by L7, released in 1992. So this album was released from Slash Records, which was Slash Records were distributed by Warner Brothers. So I figured this would work. And the beginning of the song is when I get mad, when I get pissed, I grab my pen and write out a list of all the people that won't be missed. You've made my shit list. Like, it's like, this is some really grungy 92 stuff. But if you think about Penguin, he has a shit list.
He
Catwoman has a
does.
shit list. So I started like, I like that when I get mad, when I get pissed. Catwoman's pissed. I think Penguin's pissed at the world. So I thought, like, there really are shit lists in this movie. And even when Penguin's looking through the records, he's looking for his parents, and I think Batman puts Penguin on his shit list. And just the name of the song and the aggressiveness of it, it's aimed more at Catwoman. But yeah, I never had heard of L7, and I really like them. So that's another adding to my list of like badass rock ladies from the 1990s. So driving to
So
work in preparation for this, I put on best of lists of every year. And then I put on rock, I found rock lists of every year from the years we were covering. So
mhm.
I was in the 90s zone for a long time, and I
Yeah.
had a great time doing it. But this one really works well for me.
I just laughed a little bit the first time because She does have a little bit of that Jim Carrey cable guy,
Yeah.
want someone to love,
Yes.
you know, the,
Yeah.
you know, it made me laugh. So my question to you is they used that in Natural Born Killers. So are you dual, like it's, you know, are both movies using it and one just is more memorable, or are you taking it from that movie and Oliver Stone has to find a different song?
Well, this could be a Free Willy thing. It was Free Willy 3, Kissed by a Rose.
Oh, that was you always think it's Free Willy. It was Never Ending Story 3.
Wait, I don't think I'll ever change my mind on that. You've
No.
corrected me many times, and I always think it's Free Willy 3.
Yeah.
And it's from Never Ending Story 2?
3.
Oh, okay.
It was like direct to VHS, I think, at that point.
Yeah, so I think it's this kind of situation.
Okay, got it.
And listen, like this is very Oliver Stone too. L7's very Oliver Stone, very aggressive, and it works well. But I think shit list, like everyone has a shit list in this movie, and it works well.
No, that's great. That's literally like one of the head scratching plot points of this movie is him with his list. So it works. All right, so you mentioned this briefly, but my next one is it's Weirdo by the Charlatans.
This could be on Batman Forever. This could be on Batman.
It could be on any
you
one
could
of
just
them.
throw it on. Like I know I interrupted you, but when I was listening to this, I'm like, this could have been on Batman Forever.
It easily
throw it in there, and it could easily
have been on any one of them. It fits the time period. I would not put this in the movie anywhere. But I think it's just one of those songs that flushes out the mindset of literally any one of the three of our characters. But you're right. I could see this being for Batman in the next one, or like Two-Face, or you know, Mr. Freeze. It doesn't matter. It's a song about being disgusted with what you've become, which I thought it could be a cool Penguin song, but again, like Penguin is never really ashamed of himself. He's more mad at everyone else. So maybe Catwoman or Batman, I don't know, it doesn't matter. It's a cool atmospheric song, and sure, throw it on there, you know?
There's a good line. There's too much for me to know about, and most of the time you're happy you're a weirdo, and your nerve is my device and makes me sad. Like it really does work for any of these characters. But this is by far, if we're just looking at the Schumacher Batmans, this is the most in common of all of our picks, I would say, because this one could just be plopped on those soundtracks, and it made me happy. As soon as it came on, I'm like, oh man, I don't know.
That probably speaks more to the formula of these four Batman films, which have more DNA in common than they do separate. You know, I think people see it as the first two are their own thing, the second two are their own thing. And I'm like, I just don't see it that way. I think like there's very much very similar DNA in all four of them if you were to really boil it down, you know, which is why this could fit for any one of them.
Great. That was my favorite. I don't know if it's not my favorite song of all the picks, but that one, I love it. You nailed that one. Yeah. So listen to all the soundtracks and then listen to that. You'll know what I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a 93 song from Bjork, and it's called Big Time Sensuality. And I just think of Catwoman.
Oh,
when this song comes up. But I like We Just Met, and I know I'm a bit too intimate, but something huge is coming up and we're both included. Like that's Catwoman in Batman. And she's like, it takes courage to enjoy it, the hardcore and the gentle, big time sensuality. Oh, it made me. And if you think about the transformation of Selena from mild mannered, actually, she's a pretty high level assistant, but then to Catwoman, who's just big time sensuality. And this is another joy of really looking for. This was a popular song, but not the most popular. So I had a good time looking for this song, and I don't know. I love it. I think it works really well for Michelle Pfeiffer in this.
I mean, we're talking so much about the broody moodiness of Batman Returns, which is there. But, you know, you also, what maybe we don't acknowledge is that that's about 60% of the movie. The other 40% is actually very, I don't even want to go so far as to say campy, but it's bouncy, right?
Mhm.
There's a lot of bounciness and humor and playfulness to this movie, especially when we first get Catwoman, not her transformation, but when she's out and about, right? Those scenes between her
Yeah.
and Batman are flirty and they're fun, and it's the heart and like really the electricity of this movie. So I think we both chose, because I'll in a second I'll talk about mine, but we both chose our like broody who am I, what am I doing songs, and we both chose a like this is sexy fun song, and I like that this one was yours.
I mean, listen, Catwoman, for what it's worth, Michelle Pfeiffer just burns the screen in this movie, and so I just feel like Big Time Sensuality is perfect for it. So it's
And one thing that like I've seen this movie a million times, and then someone pointed out to me, I'm like, I don't know how I never really caught this. You can see the her costume unraveling and torn like as the film
oh
progresses, showing
man,
that she's unraveling even more as the film progresses, and by the end, there's almost nothing left of it, which I just think is great.
I want that. This is random, Billy, but please remind me about that sticker idea. I ain't doing that.
You got it.
Okay. All right,
All right.
what's your next pick?
So okay, this is my kind of bouncy, sexy song, which is "High" by The Cure. So again, would
It's
not use
about
the same.
cats.
Exactly. It's not in the film, but it's about Bruce and Selena, how they feel about each other. I love the literal connection about when I see you, kitten as a cat, smitten as that, how you purr, it makes me want to paw you. Like, it feels like it was written for that movie and they submitted it and maybe they just said no, but it's just like, well, I don't know how this doesn't correlate as a 1-to-1. So I've already shot my wad on like the sexy connection by them, but that was my contribution.
I love that. And Burton once again loves the Killers. The Killers love the Cure, so it makes sense for this. But yeah,
Yeah.
the cat worked perfectly. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna do "Sometimes" by My Bloody Valentine, 1991. Sophia Coppola used it for Lost in Translation, but I just think the big soaring guitars and the shoegazing music would work great in maybe the credits or at the end when Selena is dying, just when those guitars kick in, and it's moody and it's atmospheric, and I don't know. I think it. I don't know. It's the closest thing to like a ballad, I guess, that My Bloody Valentine has done. So yeah,
Yeah, what's funny is I'd never heard this song, and to be quite frank with you, like I wasn't really familiar with the band either, so like I didn't know what their vibe was. And when I put this on, I kept waiting for it to like kick in, but it doesn't. Like that's what the song kind of is all the way through, which you're right. It does have, you ever listen to a song and you're like, either this has trailer energy or this has end credit energy, and
mhm.
this did feel very end credit energy.
Yeah, because it's moody, right? And I think it would work really well with it. This song so much. I have two of the Lost in Translation vinyl soundtracks, a special edition and a regular one. I love
So
that
you
movie.
can just dual put it on different rooms and
I can
just
turntable it.
yeah.
I love this soundtrack. I love it so much. All right, what's your
uh,
next pick?
all right, so this one is something I'm adding to the movie. This is Wish by 9 Inch Nails. There's such a frenetic, frantic energy to this, and it's so angry. There's like a real animosity to this song, and I think it would be perfect for the scene where Penguin commandeers the Batmobile and is just
Oh
wreaking
yeah,
havoc through Gotham. I think honestly, like as great as the score is, and I mean, no disrespect to Danny Elfman, I feel like Penguin's also commandeering that radio too, and I think he's putting on, and as much as like the goofy kind of circusy score is, I'm like, it doesn't quite sell the moment of what he's doing. It makes it seem a little goofy, whereas I feel like you replace it with this, and then it's like it is mad, it is angry, it is
yeah.
vindictive, and that's a hot song at this time. 9 Inch Nails fits this perfectly. Like that I would change out.
I love it. That would work. When I this 9 Inch Nails gets you pumped. This one's a really industrial one of their songs too.
It is, and I feel like that fits because when you look even at like aesthetically at like Batman's new suit in this one, there's no sculpted abs. It's very mechanical. It's industrial. It looks like a race car that was kind of repurposed as a suit. So like, yeah, again, it fits with this kind of aesthetic in the second one that we're creating that's less organic than the movies surrounding it. This one is much more tactile. We see it not just in the costumes, not just in the music, but also just in the production design. Gotham, you know, the fascist art and statues. Like this is the same Gotham, but also very different, you know?
I love it. That's a great pick. And I had never heard that song. So I love jamming out to it while in rush hour traffic.
I mean, credit to my boy Ron Swallow on my Rebooted podcast. I told him what we were doing is like, oh, you got to check this out. Then I think that would be perfect. So thanks, Ron.
Oh, heck yeah. All right. So I'm going to a really sad one that gets me super emotional every time I listen to it. And so if I had to pick the best vocal performances of the 1990s, I would say something by Whitney Houston, something by Mariah Carey, and this song Three Babies by Sinead O'Connor, maybe Zombie by the Cranberries as well. But this song Three Babies is one of the like saddest, most emotional songs. You know, she wrote it after having some miscarriages, and it's just one of the most like emotionally open, sad songs. And just yeah, this song just really gets me. But I think if you think about Three Babies, we can think of Penguin, Catwoman, and Batman. And like I know that Batman and Penguin, we know about their lives as babies. How Penguin, you know, he was given away. Batman's parents died. Michelle Pfeiffer's mom is kind of overbearing, or Catwoman's mom is overbearing. But I look at them as like three lost souls, sort of. And so hearing the song Three Babies, just oh man, this like she, I don't know. Like
It's funny.
Oh man.
I did read, I wish I could give them credit, but I read someone's analysis of this movie. And if it's you and you're listening to this, shout out to you. But they were saying that those three characters are kind of representative of, you know, three children that are dealing, you know, and they act like children and how they lash out like children and how they internalize their hurt like children. So I feel like this does actually fit really well. It's strange to me because I'm trying to think like, and again, like it doesn't need to be this literal. It's just my brain how it works. So I'm like, is this just like DC's God looking down at Gotham saying like, oh my poor three children, like who are these, you know, whose POV is this song? But you know,
and I'm thinking about when the penguins are dropping Penguin into the water. That's what this was I think this or there's or the Depeche Mode song were the first ones I wanted. But just when she's like the face on you, the smell of you will always be with me. Ugh, like just Catwoman and like the way she's gonna linger in his memory. And but I look at them as the three babies and three kids, and I can barely listen to the song without crying.
I mean, this movie is really like the definition of hurt people, right?
Yeah.
That's like all that they do, you know? So yeah, I do think it fits because at the end of the day, this isn't like, and I think this is a big part of why kids walked out of this movie crying, was like, this isn't like Joker, where when he dies at the end of the first Batman movie, you feel almost like a sense of relief, like, oh, good wins. It's like we acknowledge Penguin, that as terrible as he was still hurt really bad. And Selena, we, you know, she's alive, but like she's still really hurt. And Bruce is leaving even more hurt than he was when the movie started. So it's just like, yeah, these poor three babies, like, you know, no one grew from this experience.
They're all just worse.
They're all worse than when we started, you know?
Oh, I love this song, Billy. The lyrics, the performance of the song is I'm getting All right, what's your pick?
All right, so I'm moving on to this is something you were talking about at the very beginning where I was like, you know, part of these soundtracks was about fitting to the movie, but a big part of these soundtracks was also corporate synergy. It was we have up and coming artists, they're either going to go nowhere or they're going to become big. let's try to give them a boost by putting them on a big soundtrack. Here's a band that was doing pretty good. They were making a little bit of noise, but their hit album was still a year away. But in my head, the Warner Brothers music execs heard some early tracks from an upcoming album that they were very worried about marketing called Dookie. So this is No One Knows by Green Day. This song is not in the film. This would just definitely be my let's support artists that work for us pick. I think the song fits well enough, but honestly it doesn't really matter. This is just kind of one of their throwaway tracks from their last album, and I think this would just all about like, let's just get Green Day associated with something big, which Batman Returns at that point, the hype was unreal, and hope for the best.
But also Call Me Irresponsible. Like, I like that.
There are some ties. I'm just saying, like, when we've been waxing poetic about all these lyrics just fitting so well, and it's like, this one's like, yeah, I guess kind of, but this one's more about just push that band and no one knowing what Dookie was going to do for their careers.
Yeah, it's a great, when you pick that, I almost had an Offspring song on here, Nothing Out of Something, which is kind of what Penguin was. He was rich and then he became poor, but I dropped it because they had it's on the Batman Forever soundtrack. Then I almost picked Today by Smashing Pumpkins, but they have a song on Batman and Robin, so I dropped that. So I'm glad that we got some Green Day in here, and that's like a perfect pick to support your crew and add that. I dig it.
Right. And just to add to that pedigree, man.
And then I got I have a Warner Brothers one right here. It's Faith No More with the song called Midlife Crisis. So I don't know, it kind of works well. There's this line in this. He's like, "You're perfect, yes, it's true. But without me, you're only you. Your menstruating heart, it ain't bleeding enough for two." Like, I don't know. I kind of like that line. What an inheritance. There's another line about that. It's like what all these people inherited. I'm finding a lot in these songs, but yeah, I really like this. And it's also Warner Brothers. And there are some lines that mix, but also, you want to support your artist who has an album coming out that year. So put Faith No More on there.
I also like too that this kind of, and again, it's a little bit of a stretch, but it's, the line that you just said was like, you're kind of almost like you're kind of nothing without me, which is like, to me, Bruce in this movie
Batman
is an addict.
Yeah.
He's addicted to Batman, like I
Murder.
said, because it allows him to not have to feel anything. And so I like that idea. It's something that I really wish, as much as I love Batman Forever, I wish they would have delved into that aspect of it, like why he doesn't, or why he's so obsessed with being Batman is because, like, well, then I don't have to think about anything, because then I feel like that would have paralleled well with Two-Face, where he can't separate himself physically. So, but anyways, I digress. I thought that was a good pick. I liked it.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's the Warner Brothers, which you inspired. Yeah. So I'm glad I picked that.
All right,
we have 2 songs left, right? Or do you have 3?
I have 3.
Okay.
I have 3. This one was one that I just sprung on you about an hour ago, because I originally wanted My Friends by Red Hot Chili Peppers, because it was during a downtime where the band was kind of not as popular. Dave Navarro had joined the band, but I messed up and I looked at the album and it was actually about 95, and I just felt that was a bridge too far. So I rewound it back a little bit. And this one, I'm sure you're like, wait, what? But I went with Free Your Mind by In Vogue, Free Your Mind.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? And there's 2 reasons why. One, this is definitely in the movie, because I feel like this would be a lot more energetic and play much better if the band was actually lip syncing it at the Shrek holiday party. I just think it has a better energy than a Muzak version of Super Freak. It feels like you need that party song. And then it also too, I just feel like our album is so dour that in kind of the spirit of the albums that are about to come, there's always that one song that's like, whoa, what are you doing here? This doesn't fit at all with the amount of energy you're putting into this. And that would be this song. I feel like this would be a really fun one for that first half of the party scene before they slow dance together, which I do have. That's like my main event song I'll talk about. But I feel like this would be in the movie, played live by In Vogue during the party.
Before you read me, you got to learn how to see me.
Yeah, I think it's great. Honestly, it was It was between this and Jump. I was almost going to put Jump. But then I was like, that might be too like, because hip hop at that time and rap was still kind of not in its infancy, but it was not widespread. And I was like, I don't know if these socialites would actually go for that. Whereas Free Your Mind is kind of splits the difference just a little bit,
And I wear tight clothing, high-heeled shoes. That works.
I don't
well
think
for-
Crisscross would have been invited to the Shrek holiday.
Don't try to compare us to another bad little fad. All right. That was so. I was. Oh, never mind. I'll save that for another time.
Okay.
Oh no. So I was supposed to do Bombs Over Baghdad with my buddy for this thing, and then he backed out. So we ended up doing Crisscross Jump because he didn't think he could learn Bombs Over Baghdad.
That's a lot of words. It's a lot of words.
I did it. He chickened out. So I was like, oh, let's do Crisscross. All right. So this one's really random and it's another big hit, but I'm just gonna go with Duran Duran, Ordinary World from '93. I just kind of I like the vibe of it. And I also kind of think like this is one of his friends who passed away. But I like the idea of there's an ordinary world and I'm trying to make my way to it, but like none of these people can. Like I will learn how to survive in my world. I just think the words, and as I try to make my way to the ordinary world, I will learn how to survive. Like none of these people are in an ordinary world. Batman, Catwoman, Penguin, and I also think once again, Duran Duran, Killers, Tim Burton, it works really well. Also in Layer Cake, it's used really well when a guy's getting like beat up. So this could also be used during a violent scene. But I think I don't know. I just love it. I think it's moody, and I like that they're these guys they're trying to find some normalcy, but they'll never have it. And so they're trying to make their way, even though some of them don't even want that. So I think, Penguin was part of that world and being the mayor and all this. And Batman's trying to be this billionaire businessman. And I don't know, it just works. So yeah.
No, I agree. That's Bruce wants an ordinary life with Selena, which
he
can't
does
happen.
Nope.
And Penguin wants to ascend to the top and be seen and be respected, and like that's just not going to happen. So I agree. What's interesting is I'd never heard this song. I played it. Yeah, I'd never heard this song, and I played it, Ordinary World, and I was like, there was a song that came out, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago by Ozzy Osbourne called Ordinary Man. A lot of similarities. A lot of chord structures are very much the same. Also about dying, but like kind of his impending death as opposed to reflecting on someone who has died. So I'm not saying Ozzy took from this song, but I would be very, very surprised if he was not inspired by it.
I hope he licensed something. But yeah. I'll have to listen to that now. But that's another song that came immediately to mind. And it is popular, but it made too much sense for me to not include. So I picked that.
Sure. All right. So this one, I'm down to my two very heavy hitters. As if I'm the marketing team, this is what I'm putting all my eggs in this basket. This one would be the second single to come off of this album. And it would also be in the end credits. And this is Nirvana, Come As You Are. And the reason is I've always loved this song, but I felt like it, sonically, the best way I could describe it is like this guitar riff sounds almost like it's underwater or like it's being played in a sewer. And when you listen to Penguin's theme, that bum 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 bum, I feel like it could easily go into bum 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 bum, and it sounds like you're still in the same place. So I think the lyrics match kind of the moodiness, the darkness of these people. Come as you are, which none of them can, because they're all dealing with duality of Penguin wanting to be something is not, Catwoman and Selena, Bruce is Batman. It's like, come as you are, as damaged as you are. But also in my little kayfabe made up world here, I think that they push this song hard. It's in the end credits. And I think Kurt Cobain is so angry that this song is associated with a kid's comic book Batman movie that he refuses to ever play it live ever again.
But then people are like, hey man, have you seen the movie?
I think he's so disgusted by seeing his song with like he walks into a a warehouse or
Yeah.
Sam Goody and sees his song, and there's a big a CD cover, and it has Michael Keaton and Selena Kyle in these costumes, and I think he's just like, are you kidding me? Like, I hate this.
I love that. That's a great. Listen, as soon as I saw "Come as You Are," I went, "Yeah, that's a great pick. That's a wonderful pick."
I think it just like, yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I think it would flow really easily from going out of Selena's head popping up with the score and then transitioning into that for your end credits.
So we're gonna. So after we're done, let's pick our end credit song and then our singles. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay. My last one's just "I Will Always" by the Cranberries. I needed a Cranberry song. I love the Cranberries. Mission Impossible sound. I bought Mission Impossible. I should have just bought the album, but I bought the Mission Impossible album because it has Dreams from the Cranberries, which Dreams is one of my favorite songs ever. I just like Irish artists like Glenn Hansard and like all these, but whatever. I digress. But I know that Selena and Bruce don't always have this, but like I will always go beside you. You will always understand it. But it's about this kind of person who like wants to leave, and so like be whatever you want to be and wherever you need to go. And when it all seems like a mistake, take whatever you need to take, leave the rest for my own sake. It just works. And it's very moody. And it's just, I feel like Bruce Wayne's always going to have those feelings towards Selena and vice versa. But I just like that. I like that "I Will Always." And also this movie, like you said, everyone leaves pretty damaged. And I think this song has that feeling as well. So this will always have an imprint on their heart. So I took the Cranberries from 1993, "I Will Always."
And I don't think they're any hotter than they are in that early 90s.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I love, man, they're so good. That album, I listened to that whole album in preparation for this. I have long commutes, and I was like, this album rules. So
Yeah, so my last pick is, this was like, I not only did I think about this first for this episode, I've been thinking about this for years for reasons I cannot explain. "Take a Bow" by Madonna. For some reason, I have always associated this song with this movie. I have no reason to, but it just feels like it was always meant to be in the scene where they are dancing, and the whole like she's gonna kill Max, and like, who are you? I don't even know anymore. This is my big marketing push. This is my kiss from a rose to the fact that I'm going to actually rename this "Take a Bow," and then in parentheses, love theme from Batman Returns. The video is Madonna in not a full Catwoman suit, but a Catwoman-esque type costume, rolling on kind of the bed in Oswald's like office that they kind of have their meeting in. I think that it fits so well thematically to what's happening with Bruce and Selena, of like, take a bow, you wear this mask, you pretend to be this person, but when no one else is around, what do we feel? Like, how do you feel about me? I don't even know. And you've portrayed yourself as this other person. And it also already sonically has those kind of high strings that we associate with Catwoman. So I feel like it's not very hard to integrate this into the score. So yeah, this is my mega, I'm putting everything behind this. And we're talking about singles. I'm like, this is almost my non-negotiable. This has to be a single from this.
Oh, I love it. Man, this and also "I've Always Been in Love with You," always with you. That's like the "I Will Always" from Cranberries.
Yeah. It just fits so well. It fits so well. It came out 1 year after, but in my reality, she was sitting on this, and then they were like, hey, let's use that for Batman Returns.
So I think singles 1 and 2 from this, all of our picks are "Take a Bow" and "Come as You Are."
I mean, that's how I
Yeah.
how I have it in my notes. Yeah.
And then maybe "Enjoy the Silence" for the third one.
I think so. Again, that's, to me, it was like Batman and Robin was like, first it was Smashing Pumpkins, then it was Gotham City, and then it was Jewel. So I think that's your Jewel, right?
What's the end credits? 2 songs for the end credits.
Yeah, from my list, it was "Come as You Are." But I can be persuaded. I think like "Take a Bow" to me, it's like that's in that scene, and I'm not changing my mind, but I can leave out "Come as You Are."
I think that would lead into it well, though. You said sometimes for My Bloody Valentine for the credits, but I see sometimes during the movie when she's about to get electrocuted and that whole thing. Like I just feel that building. So I don't know. Or
I don't think any of my other picks work for the end credits. So it would have to be one from yours.
okay,
Like
okay,
I do feel Come As You Are, like I said, like
yeah,
that
Come As You
almost
Are.
flows very naturally with Penguin's theme.
We'll do
But
that.
I think, yeah, we'll abbreviate it, and then fade into a second song.
I mean, Ordinary World.
Yeah,
After Come As You
Ordinary
Are.
World. Because you have to think, what's the last note of your song? Because that's what we end on, the like Warner Brothers copyright. That's like your last thing from this film,
Because I don't think
It's tough.
I don't think Shitlist or Faith or Midlife Crisis.
No, not Shitless for sure.
Maybe enjoy the silence.
What a I either Enjoy the Silence or Three Babies, maybe. Like if you really, I mean, we're already sending people out feeling like crap. You might as well.
Yeah, let's do that. Three Babies
Yeah,
by Sinead
yeah.
O'Connor. Yeah. All right, Three Babies. So we have our two singles, maybe with a third single, and then we have our two credit songs.
When does Sinead O'Connor pull her SNL thing? Like, she's not persona non grata at this point, is she? No, this is let's see, Sinead
I mean, it was
O'Connor.
92, October 3, 92. But I mean, they've already
Oh,
put
so the
this on
movie's already
album.
come out. The
Yeah.
movie's already come out. Yeah, so we're fine. Yeah, Sinead O'Connor still. I mean, by the way, that was all bullshit. But she should not have suffered the way she did for that. But
You know
yeah.
what sucks? When she died, so many people are like, we should have treated her better. I'm like, yeah, guys, like
You
she's
also had like 30 some odd years to come around on that,
exactly. Hey, is there anything you want to promote before we get out of here? Do you have any other shows? Do you have anything coming up?
Just my new show, Doug Defends, where a real life lawyer, Doug Ridley, who's a former DA, not Two-Face, he's a current defense attorney. We look at movies and TV shows, and we find what legally would be the real kind of consequences. It's hilarious. We did one of the episodes we recorded was Friends, and which friend you would think probably breaks the most laws is not the one that I actually thought. So
Phoebe?
That's what you would think. It is not Phoebe.
Joey?
No, you're gonna have to listen. But our first episode out the gate is him defending Anakin Skywalker for that Jedi Temple massacre and how he would actually do it in court. So really interesting stuff. I love doing the show. I'm very proud of it, very excited. So check out Doug Defends on YouTube or any podcast platform.
I love it. And this was awesome, man. And hopefully I can have you back.
We gotta do it for something else.
Well, yeah, this is fun. Yeah, I mean
Jurassic Park or something,
Oh, can we pick one in like later 90s? Because these are all the same time frame, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So
I'm trying to think of like what was the score only
Batman
movie.
Begins.
Could do Batman. That's like mid 2000s. That's
because we talked about doing Fantastic Four.
Well, Fantastic Four had a kick-ass soundtrack.
Killer soundtrack. Yeah.
So maybe that same summer there was a little renaissance of soundtracks. I like it.
Yeah, we'll take some time on that. We'll figure it out because I had a good time with this one, and I enjoyed just listening to a lot of music. But make sure to check out everything Billy does, and thank you again for joining me.
Thank you.
All right, so for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for Billy Business, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.